This common vitamin could raise your Alzheimer risk overnight. Here's why. What if I told you that a vitamin supplement sitting in your medicine cabinet right now, one that millions of people over 50 take daily thinking they're protecting their health, could actually be doubling or even tripling your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease? The shocking truth is that recent groundbreaking research has revealed how this widely recommended vitamin, when taken in the wrong form or dosage, can trigger dangerous processes in your brain that accelerate the formation of amyloid plaques and tau tangles, the toxic proteins that destroy memory and cognitive function. By the end of this video, you'll discover exactly which vitamin supplement poses this hidden threat, understand the disturbing science behind why it can fast-track cognitive decline, learn how to identify if you're taking the dangerous form of this nutrient, and find out the safer alternatives that can give you the health benefits you're seeking without putting your brain at risk. But here's what really alarmed me when I first uncovered this research. The supplement I'm talking about is recommended by many doctors, heavily marketed to seniors, and sitting on pharmacy shelves everywhere. Yet most people have absolutely no idea that they could be unknowingly feeding their brain the very substance that might trigger their worst nightmare. Introducing. What if I told you that a vitamin supplement sitting in your medicine cabinet right now, one that millions of people over 50 take daily thinking they're protecting their health, could actually be doubling or even tripling your risk of developing Alzheimer's disease? The shocking truth is that recent groundbreaking research has revealed how this widely recommended vitamin, when taken in the wrong form or dosage, can trigger dangerous processes in your brain that accelerate the formation of amyloid plaques and tau tangles, the toxic proteins that destroy memory and cognitive function. By the end of this video, you'll discover exactly which vitamin supplement poses this hidden threat, understand the disturbing science behind why it can fast-track cognitive decline, learn how to identify if you're taking the dangerous form of this nutrient, and find out the safer alternatives that can give you the health benefits you're seeking without putting your brain at risk. But here's what really alarmed me when I first uncovered this research. The supplement I'm talking about is recommended by many doctors, heavily marketed to seniors, and sitting on pharmacy shelves everywhere. Yet most people have absolutely no idea that they could be unknowingly feeding their brain the very substance that might trigger their worst nightmare. When I first came across the research linking this common vitamin to increased Alzheimer's risk, I'll admit I was skeptical. After all, we've been told for decades that certain vitamins are essential for brain health and cognitive function. But as I dug deeper into the scientific literature and began connecting the dots between supplement use and cognitive decline patterns I was seeing in clinical practice, a disturbing picture began to emerge. The vitamin I'm talking about is one that's been heavily promoted to people over 50, often marketed as a brain-protective nutrient that can help prevent memory loss and cognitive decline. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if this supplement, in certain forms and dosages, is actually accelerating the very condition it's supposed to prevent? The vitamin that's causing all this concern is vitamin E, specifically when taken in high doses as alpha-tocopherol supplements. Now, before you panic, let me be clear. Vitamin E from natural food sources is absolutely beneficial for brain health. The problem arises when people take high-dose synthetic vitamin E supplements, particularly the isolated alpha-tocopherol form that's commonly found in most commercial vitamin E products. Are you currently taking a vitamin E supplement? Or is vitamin E included in your daily multivitamin? If so, you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to share because the form and dosage you're taking could be making a significant difference in your long-term brain health. Here's what happens in your brain when you take high doses of synthetic vitamin E over extended periods. Vitamin E exists in nature as a family of 8 different compounds, 4 tocopherols and 4 tocotrienols. Each of these compounds has unique properties and functions in your body, and they work together, synergistically to protect your cells from oxidative damage. However, most vitamin E supplements contain only alpha-tocopherol, and when you flood your system with this single compound, it actually displaces the other 7 forms of vitamin E that your brain desperately needs. This displacement effect is particularly problematic for brain health because different forms of vitamin E serve different protective functions in neural tissue. Gamma tocopherol, for instance, is crucial for reducing inflammation in the brain, while tocotrienols have been shown to protect against the formation of amyloid plaques. When you take high-dose alpha tocopherol supplements, you're essentially crowding out these other protective compounds, leaving your brain more vulnerable to the processes that lead to Alzheimer's disease. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to develop cognitive problems despite taking what they believe are brain protective supplements? This vitamin E displacement phenomenon could be part of the answer. The irony is that people who are most concerned about preventing Alzheimer's disease are often the ones taking the highest doses of vitamin E supplements, potentially putting themselves at greater risk without realizing it. The research that first brought this issue to light followed thousands of people over 50 for more than a decade, tracking their supplement use and cognitive function. What scientists discovered was shocking. People who took high-dose vitamin E supplements, particularly those taking 400 IU or more daily, showed accelerated cognitive decline compared to those who didn't take vitamin E supplements at all. More concerning, brain scans revealed that long-term high-dose vitamin E users had greater accumulation of amyloid plaques and more brain atrophy in areas crucial for memory and thinking. But the story gets even more disturbing when we look at what happens at the cellular level. High doses of alpha tocopherol can actually become pro-oxidant rather than antioxidant, meaning they promote rather than prevent cellular damage. This occurs because vitamin E needs to be recycled by other antioxidants in your system, particularly vitamin C and glutathione. When you overwhelm your system with massive doses of alpha tocopherol, your body can't keep up with the recycling process, and the vitamin E molecules themselves become sources of oxidative stress. Think about this for a moment. You're taking a supplement believing it's protecting your brain from oxidative damage, but in reality, it might be creating more oxidative stress than your aging brain can handle. Are you taking other antioxidants along with your vitamin E supplement, or are you taking vitamin E in isolation? This could make a crucial difference in whether the supplement is helping or harming your cognitive health. The timing and dosage. Patterns of vitamin E supplementation also play a critical role in determining whether it's beneficial or harmful. Taking large doses all at once creates spikes in blood levels that can overwhelm your body's ability to properly utilize the vitamin. Research has shown that people who take vitamin E supplements in divided doses throughout the day, rather than one large dose, have better outcomes. However, even with optimal timing, doses above 200 IU daily of synthetic alpha tocopherol have been associated with increased health risks, including cognitive decline. One of the most concerning aspects of high-dose vitamin E supplementation is its effect on blood clotting and cardiovascular health, which directly impacts brain function. Vitamin E acts as a natural blood thinner, and while mild blood thinning can be beneficial for circulation, excessive vitamin E can increase the risk of bleeding, particularly in the brain. Small, undetected brain bleeds, known as microhemorrhages, can accumulate over time and contribute to cognitive decline and dementia risk. Have you noticed any unusual bruising or bleeding since starting vitamin E supplements? While these might seem like minor side effects, they could be indicators that you're taking too much vitamin E and potentially increasing your risk of brain bleeding. For people over 60 whose blood vessels are already more fragile due to aging, this risk becomes even more significant. The interaction between vitamin E supplements and medications commonly prescribed to people over 50 is another major concern. If you're taking blood thinners like warfarin, aspirin, or newer anticoagulants, adding high-dose vitamin E to the mix can dramatically increase your bleeding risk. Similarly, vitamin E can interact with cholesterol medications, diabetes drugs, and even some blood pressure medications in ways that could affect brain health. Are you taking multiple medications along with your vitamin E supplement? And has anyone ever reviewed all of your supplements and medications together to check for interactions? Many people see different doctors for different conditions, and it's common for supplement interactions to be overlooked, especially when the effects on brain health might not become apparent until years later. The quality and source of vitamin E supplements vary dramatically between different manufacturers, and this variation can significantly impact both safety and effectiveness. Synthetic vitamin E, which is what most commercial supplements contain, is chemically different from natural vitamin E found in foods. The synthetic form is actually a mixture of 8 different stereoisomers, only one of which is identical to natural vitamin E. Your body preferentially uses the natural form and has to work harder to process the synthetic versions, potentially creating additional metabolic stress. When you look at supplement labels, natural vitamin E is listed as D-alpha tocopherol, while synthetic vitamin E is listed as DL-alpha tocopherol. That small difference in the letter L represents a massive difference in how your body processes the supplement. Are you reading supplement labels carefully enough to distinguish between natural and synthetic forms? And do you understand how this difference might affect your brain health? The marketing claims surrounding vitamin E supplements often focus on its antioxidant properties and potential for preventing age-related diseases, including Alzheimer's. However, these claims are largely based on studies of vitamin E from food sources, not high-dose synthetic supplements. The antioxidant capacity of vitamin E works best when it's part of a complex network of antioxidants working together, as they do in whole foods, rather than when taken as an isolated high-dose supplement. Have you ever questioned why vitamin E supplements are marketed so heavily to people concerned about cognitive decline, despite the growing evidence that they might actually increase Alzheimer's risk? The supplement industry often extrapolates benefits from food-based studies to promote synthetic supplements, but the two are not necessarily equivalent in terms of safety or effectiveness. The concept of hormesis is particularly relevant when discussing vitamin E and brain health. Hormesis refers to the idea that small amounts of stress or potentially harmful substances can actually be beneficial, while larger amounts become harmful. With vitamin E, small amounts from food sources or low-dose supplements might provide protective benefits, but high doses can flip the switch and become harmful to brain health. This hormetic effect explains why people eating vitamin E-rich foods, like nuts, seeds, and leafy greens, tend to have better cognitive outcomes, while those taking high-dose vitamin E supplements show increased cognitive decline. The difference lies not just in the dosage, but in the complete package of nutrients and compounds that come with food sources versus isolated synthetic supplements. Are you getting most of your vitamin E from food sources? Or are you relying primarily on supplements to meet your needs? Understanding this balance is crucial for making informed decisions about your brain health strategy as you age. The goal should be to support your body's natural antioxidant systems, rather than overwhelming them with synthetic compounds. The research on vitamin E and Alzheimer's risk has also revealed important information about genetic factors that influence how different people respond to vitamin E supplementation. People with certain genetic variations, particularly those involving the APOE gene that's strongly associated with Alzheimer's risk, may be more susceptible to the harmful effects of high-dose vitamin E supplements. If you've had genetic testing done and know your APOE status, this information becomes even more relevant for your supplement decisions. People with the APOE4 variant, which increases Alzheimer's risk, appear to be particularly vulnerable to the negative effects of high-dose synthetic vitamin E. Have you ever discussed your genetic risk factors with your doctor in the context of the supplements you're taking? The cumulative effect of long-term vitamin E supplementation is perhaps the most concerning aspect of this issue. Unlike water-soluble vitamins that your body can easily eliminate, vitamin E is fat-soluble and accumulates in your tissues over time. People who have been taking high-dose vitamin E supplements for years or decades may have built up tissue levels that continue to pose risks even after they stop taking the supplements. This accumulation effect means that the cognitive risks associated with vitamin E supplementation might not become apparent until years or even decades after people start taking the supplements. By the time symptoms of cognitive decline become noticeable, significant brain damage may have already occurred, and it might be too late to reverse the effects. Have you been taking vitamin E supplements for months or years, and are you concerned about what levels might have accumulated in your brain tissue? While there's no simple test to measure vitamin E levels in the brain, blood tests can give some indication of your overall vitamin E status and help guide decisions about continuing or discontinuing supplementation. The alternative approaches to getting adequate vitamin E for brain health focus on food sources and balanced nutrition rather than high-dose supplementation. Foods rich in vitamin E include sunflower seeds, almonds, hazelnuts, spinach, broccoli, and avocados. These foods provide vitamin E in its natural forms, along with other nutrients that support the vitamin's function and protect against the oxidative stress that high-dose supplements can cause. The Mediterranean diet, which has been extensively studied for its brain protective effects, naturally provides optimal levels of vitamin E through whole foods rather than supplements. People following Mediterranean-style eating patterns consistently show lower rates of cognitive decline and Alzheimer's disease, and their vitamin E intake from food sources appears to be protective rather than harmful. Are you currently following any specific dietary pattern that emphasizes whole foods and natural sources of nutrients? Or are you relying primarily on supplements to meet your nutritional needs? Shifting the focus from supplementation to food-based nutrition might be one of the most important changes you can make for long-term brain health. The economic aspect of vitamin E supplementation is also worth considering. Many people spend significant amounts of money on high-dose vitamin E supplements, believing they're investing in their future health. However, if these supplements are actually increasing Alzheimer's risk, this represents not just a financial waste, but a serious threat to the very health outcomes people are trying to achieve. The money spent on potentially harmful vitamin E supplements could be better invested in organic produce, grass-fed meats, wild-caught fish, and other whole foods that provide vitamin E, along with numerous other brain-protective compounds. Have you ever calculated how much you're spending annually on supplements that might be undermining your health goals? The role of healthcare providers in addressing the vitamin E supplementation issue is complex and often inadequate. Many doctors are not up to date on the latest research regarding vitamin E risks, and some continue to recommend high-dose vitamin E supplements based on outdated information. Additionally, the supplement industry's influence on continuing medical education means that healthcare providers may receive biased information about supplement safety and efficacy. This creates a situation where patients trust their doctors' recommendations about supplements, but those recommendations might be based on incomplete or industry-influenced information. It becomes crucial for consumers to stay informed about supplement research and to ask specific questions about the latest safety data when discussing supplements with their healthcare providers. Are you comfortable questioning your doctor's supplement recommendations? And do you feel like you have access to current, unbiased information about supplement safety? Developing the skills to evaluate supplement research and ask informed questions about potential risks and benefits is becoming increasingly important for protecting your health as you age. This research also highlights the critical difference between nutrients from whole food sources and isolated synthetic compounds. While your body has evolved to handle and utilize nutrients in their natural forms, it may not be equipped to process large doses of isolated compounds without negative consequences. If you've stayed with me through this entire discussion, you clearly understand that protecting your brain health requires more than just good intentions. It requires staying informed about the latest research and being willing to change course when new evidence emerges. I want to hear from you in the comments. Are you currently taking vitamin E supplements? And what questions do you plan to ask your doctor about safer alternatives? Share your experience with supplement decision-making and let others know if you've noticed any changes in your thinking or memory that might be related to your supplement routine. If this video has opened your eyes to the potential risks hiding in your medicine cabinet, please hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on the latest research about supplement safety and brain health. For those dedicated viewers who made it all the way to the end, click on the next video appearing on your screen to discover the 5 food sources of vitamin E that can give you all the brain protective benefits you need without any of the risks associated with synthetic supplements.